Welcome to Poland Daily History with me, Nicholas Richardson. In the previous episode, we started to discuss the Polish hero of the American Revolutionary War, Tadeusz Kościuszko, and why he left Poland for the American colonies to fight in the War of Independence against the British government. We will now discuss his military brilliance and the impact of the battles he fought. But I think also, like Pulaski, I think it's fair to say that Kościuszko got off to quite a good start in his first major battle at Ticonderoga, where he arrived and said, hang on, there's a big mountain, the Sugarloaf Hill over there, we should defend it with a battery.
Yeah, we put some cannons up there.
And then, of course, the American commander, Sinclair, I think, said, no, we won't. And lo and behold, General Burgoyne and the British came along, and they put their battery on.
Yeah.
And of course, the battle of...
Same thing happened at Gettysburg.
Of Ticonderoga.
With the Union and the Confederacy.
Ticonderoga was essentially lost.
Yeah.
Which, of course, proved two things. One, that Kościuszko knew what he was doing. Mm-hmm. And, of course, I think it's fair to say in the retreat from that battle, his work in slowing down the British advance was key. Mm-hmm. Allowing the American forces to escape and generally and gradually wearing down the British until they, until it was at Saratoga. Burgoyne
a great victory,
essentially
of the colonists.
Essentially surrendered.
Yeah, they captured. If I remember Saratoga correctly, that was the largest surrender ever by a British colonial army. Or any army, even in Europe. I can't remember how many soldiers it was offhand, but it was a sizable contingent. And basically the Northern Army. And started the slide towards the eventual Yorktown victory over Cornwallis, who effectively became the supreme commander in the New World for the British forces. Yeah, so this kind of, well, again, we talked about Pulaski and his influence on the cavalry, which really didn't see its fruition until the American Civil War. And then both sides read his manual and used his tactics. The great J.E.B. Stuart, who died at a similar age, the Battle of Yellow Tavern, I believe, in Virginia, was a great adherent of the tactics of Pulaski. We'll come to Kościuszko in a second, but in fact, one of the direct J.E.B. Stuart, he was known as Jeb, but those were his initials, his direct descendant has been to Poland because of Pulaski and attended a few things, and also because of there was a Pole who was whose name I can't remember. There's a country house out somewhere in Kashuba area, I believe it is, or just west, who was effectively a Confederate, and in the American Civil War. So the manual, the cavalry tactics of Pulaski were used right up and really came to their were really seen in their fullest incarnation during the American Civil War, and even in tank battles, as I mentioned before about General Patton, and how because tanks were cavalry, and then in the Vietnam War, even in helicopter. The use of helicopters as cavalry, you see the tactics of Pulaski, which is phenomenal. Ditto, if I can use that simple word.
You may, of course. Yes.
Ditto, the expressions, the engineering expressions of Kościuszko to today. His engineering techniques are still studied and emulated. So how about that for lasting effect? How about that for genius? In Poland, they thought of Kościuszko as a general, leading, a field commander.
Of course.
Not as an engineer, but that was his training. And that was what was needed most of all in the United States. What luck.
Amazing.
What luck was involved. These revolutions, uprisings, these things turn on very small events, like Lenin getting the support of the German government to go back against. Without that, he doesn't come back from Switzerland. He doesn't strike at the right moment. The Rasputin thing that weakened the public belief, the bloodletting of the First World War, all of it was perfect confluence of events. And of course, in that case, it led to complete madness. And in the American experiment, which is still continuing, it led to something beautiful and of course, for all freedom lovers.
Every army officer to this day at West Point is attending an academy based at a place where Kosciuszko spent 2 years building his fortifications.
That's right. I believe, isn't there a statue there of him? I believe there's quite a famous statue of him. It's not likely to be taken down anytime soon.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to have to stop you there, but we'll be back for another episode. Don't panic. As usual, the clock's defeated us. There's a lot more to hear about these two amazing characters. So do join us again on the next episode of Poland Daily History.